What's going on, guys? I hope you had a good weekend. Now in this video I'm going to look over Terawulf stock, or WULF stock. We're going to look at some levels on the chart. We're also going to look at what Bitcoin's doing. It is still following out a pattern, and I do suspect we're going to see a breakout to either direction very soon. And I also want to go over their last earnings, which was a couple weeks ago. I haven't talked about it yet, so I do want to cover that. And we do have an upcoming catalyst for Terawulf stock coming up in the next couple of days. So let's get started. Now, if you like these videos, you know what to do. Consider checking out the links down below for some free stocks and cryptos, and let's take a look at Terawulf stock. And first off, I want to show you Bitcoin. It is still following out this tightening pattern. We are still following this uptrend we've been in since October 25. And I do suspect within the next few days, we're either going to have a breakdown from this ascending support level, or we're going to break out of 38,000, this resistance level here. The RSI is now giving us some room to run. We have been leveling out while price has been going somewhat sideways over the last couple of days throughout the middle of November towards the end here. This somewhat choppy action, this sideways action, has given our RSI a bit of a reset, which is good because now if we have a breakout, we can see a substantial move if the market allows it. But the RSI is now not holding us back. It is very close to neutral now, but do keep an eye on this pattern. If we break the support line, we could see a drop, potentially bring it back down to 35,000, but the chart is still bullish. We are above all three EMAs, and we're also above the moving averages. The EMAs and moving averages are all pointing up. They are all ascending. They are all in the correct order. Now, I wouldn't be surprised to see a little retracement closer to these moving averages, but Bitcoin is still looking just absolutely fantastic in my eyes, and I do still think it's very possible to see 45 to 50,000 by the end of December. I do think at the very least we'll probably be above $40,000. But that's just my prediction. Now, I do want to talk about Terawulf's third quarter results. This was released around the middle of November, and I will leave it down below for you, but I do want to touch on a couple things here. In the third quarter, Terawulf received a $19 million in revenue, which is an increase around 22% compared to the previous quarter. And in the full quarter, they mined 994 Bitcoin, which is roughly a 10% increase over quarter two. Now, they do expect to pay out some existing debt to the tune of $7 million with cash that was generated in the third quarter, of which 5.5 million of that 7 million was already repaid in October. So throughout November and December, they're going to pay off that last $1.5 million. And they do have some S19J XP miners coming in, 2.8 exahash worth, and these are supposed to arrive by the end of this year. Now, I do want to mention their gross profit. Some people are getting the perception that Terawulf was already profitable. That's not the case. They did post a gross profit of 10.7 million compared to 10.3 million in the previous quarter. But you will notice down here their operating loss of 9.6 million and their interest expense of over $10 million. And you will notice here that there is some dilution. This isn't that surprising. All the miners are essentially doing it right now as they aren't profitable. But we now have 221 million shares outstanding, and while they aren't profitable, they are going to continue to have to dilute and pull out a bit of debt. But I do believe when Bitcoin just gets that big run where we start heading towards previous all-time highs, Terawulf soon will get to profitability, and we won't see as much dilution. But there will likely still be some dilution in the future. They only currently have about 6.5 million in cash, and they still do have some long-term debt. This debt does outweigh their cash right now. But this is long-term debt. They do have time to pay it off. But just keep in mind, these Bitcoin miners, they are still not without their risks. We are still likely to see dilution across the board. That said, I do plan on getting into Terawulf soon, but just not right this second. And I do want to show you guys Terawulf's chart. Another reason I haven't yet got in. We are still bearish. We are under all EMAs, but we do have something approaching here. We are coming up towards the 50 EMA. And our last attempted breakout of it was failed. You'll see back here, it found resistance on it. So I am watching for this. If we can see a breakout of the 50 EMA, we are very likely to test the other EMAs as well. And if we can break out of all three, we can start looking at a more bullish chart. If we do see a little more price action to the upside, these EMAs will start curling up, which is a very good sign. And even with this little run that we've seen going from 92 cents to about $1.25, the RSI still has plenty of room to continue running. And where the moving averages are concerned, we're now above the 50, and hopefully soon we can come and test the 200 MA, which is currently lying right around 150. Now you'll notice something here. This 200 MA is actually slowly pointing upwards. And you will notice that in general, since spring of last year, we have been trending up. We had a huge spike along the way, but from spring of 2023 till now, we are up. And that's the reason why this 200 MA is trending up. But over the short term, after this peak, we just saw a huge violent drop, which caused the shorter term indicator, the 50 MA, to be very bearish. We are pointing down on it still. I do think a little more positive momentum will cause this 50 MA to start curling upwards, which is exactly what we need. But I am watching for the EMAs as well as the moving averages for Terawulf. Once this stock gives me a better entry point, I will take it. Now, one thing I want to add is their mining update is right around the corner. Their last one came out on November 2, so we're probably going to see this one very early in December. And this is going to go over everything they mined in November, any updates on their facilities, any updates on progress with orders of machines. But let me know what you guys think about their upcoming mining update. Do you think we're going to see an increase month over month in Bitcoin mined, or has increased difficulty taken that hope away? And also, how do you feel about their earnings? I do think there's a possibility that they'll reach profitability before the halving. However, after the halving, with rewards being cut in half, Bitcoin will have to move drastically higher in price for all these miners to continue being profitable after the halving for the ones that reach profitability before the halving. And there's really nothing we can do besides spectate. I do expect a lot of these miners to flip to profitability before the halving, and then the halving takes that profitability away for a short period, while Bitcoin's price appreciates to compensate for the rewards being cut in half. And then many of these miners will see profitability again, probably late 2024. But let me know what you think. Do you guys think some of these miners will hit profitability before the halving? Or do you think we'll have to wait until sometime towards 2025 to see any of these miners profitable? Thanks as always for watching, guys, and I'll catch you next time.